Hi, bonjour, y'all. Anyway, my name is Yves Berthelot, and I have the honor really to be the Vice Provost for International Initiatives at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. I've been with Georgia Tech for 35 years. Yes, and I love every minute of it. We are super excited to have this third forum on innovation here in Munich. The first one was in Paris in May. I'm sorry. Thank you, Marta. In May, over a year ago. The second one was in London in January, and this is the third one. Super exciting to see the energy of our alumni in Europe. Anyway, we have a great program. There's just a few people I want to introduce first, and then I will be acting as the MC for today. That's been my role, and I will introduce the speakers or chairs of the panels as we go. But before we do that, I want to acknowledge and introduce, everybody knows Marta, but Marta Garcia, if you would stand up. Yes. So, a few years ago, I've known Marta for years, but a few years ago, Marta convinced the president, Bud Peterson, that really we could and should do a much better job energizing the alumni base that we have around the world. It's a huge source of opportunities, potential. It's just the right thing to do, and Marta took that on, and she's basically doing that not just for Germany, but for the entire, not just Europe, but the entire planet. And she's doing a great job, and she's ably assisted by Sandrine. You all know Sandrine, right? Sandrine David is, Marta is based obviously in Atlanta, but Sandrine is based in Europe, in Brussels, and she's done a fantastic job with all the logistics, and you've probably got tons of emails. Thank you. Thank you for everything. And John Fritsch also is with Georgia Tech Lorraine in Metz, and you'll hear more about our campus in Metz, but John is in charge of the alumni and corporate relationship for our campus in France. And John is also quite involved with tons of alumni in Europe and corporations. So thanks. Feel free to ask them and interact with them directly. They're just wonderful resources, and they know campus very well. As I said, I will introduce the speakers as we go, but there's one more person that is very important to us. I'm so glad that he came today. Sergio, where is Sergio? Oh, here you are. Okay, Sergio Dominguez. It means a lot. Sergio represents the state of Georgia here in the EU, and he's based in Munich. So he's extremely well connected, understands the corporate world, economic development, and things like that. A huge assets for us, Georgia Tech, but for the state of Georgia, really, and its presence here in Europe. So thank you for doing that. Feel free to connect with Sergio. Let's get down to business. All right. Yeah. So we are honored and delighted to have with us the Executive Vice President for Research, Dr. Shawi Abdallah, who is an electrical engineer by training, but now is doing mostly administrative things and runs the enormous research business of Georgia Tech. So Shawi, thank you for being here. Thank you. And I'll leave it to you, and you can give us a little update. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Dr. Abdallah, do you want the mic?
If you want me to, I can use the mic. Is that, because it's being recorded? Okay, okay, let's do that. Okay, is it on? Can you hear me? Is that okay? Okay. No?
Yeah.
Okay, turn it down. Okay, I'll speak very soft. No? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So my job today is really to reintroduce you or to reacquaint you with Georgia Tech. We have a lot of things going on. In particular, as of 5 days ago, we have a new president. His name is Angel Cabrera. Angel was born in Spain. He was educated, did his undergraduate at Carlos III, and he got his master's and his PhD at Georgia Tech, where he also met his wife. Then he went on to become the dean, the president of a business school. And, pardon? Thunderbird, of course. Thunderbird, exactly, yeah. He's been your president twice. Okay, so we have a fan here of Angel. Okay, good. So then he became president of George Mason University for 7 years, and as I mentioned, he's just became the 12th president of Georgia Tech. We're very excited about having Angel for many reasons, but a particular one is he's very, very interested in globalization, international alumni relations, and global problems. He's very involved with the United Nations, with the World Economic Forum, and with other things. So I think you will find a lot more engagement even beyond what we have had so far. So I just want to give you a few numbers here, and please, the numbers are here so that you can brag about to somebody else, but they're really, these are not things that we focus on, but it's good when your work is being acknowledged. This is comparing 2009 to 2019. I realize many of you graduated after 2009. Many of you, some of you graduated before, like I did, and so did my wife, who also I met at Georgia Tech. But this is just to give you an idea about the growth and the numbers of what's happening. And I want you to really, just contrast, because in many cases, this growth is intentional. But more importantly, it's also the quality of your degree that is becoming a lot more important. Not because of things that I did. I just came in a year ago. But a lot of hard work goes into everything that we do, including what you're doing, including what the alumni are doing. That is actually part of the rankings and so on. So the last piece in here is something that I'm very proud of. We went from $483 million in sponsored research to more than $1 billion in sponsored research at Georgia Tech as of this year. These are the contracts, the awards. To put it in perspective, we are the largest. This amount is the largest for any public university in the United States that does not have a medical school. So we're this is a number that, now, of course, this is the input into the engine of research, and then the people who get this obviously have to do the work and hopefully create the next in research and provide solutions to everything. So, I got to do this way. Here we go. Now, out of these many applicants and students we have, currently we have 36,500 students. Now you say, what happened? Well, this includes the masters, the online masters, right? Or online, which is huge. About 10,000 students almost around the world who are getting a master's degree from Georgia Tech. I'm sorry? 12,000. 12,000. Now, the top countries of origin outside of the US are, you see France, United Kingdom, and Spain. And the top countries of where you all are France, number 4, Germany, and the United Kingdom. So, we're a global university. We draw on talent from everywhere, but we also provide graduates for every place. So, there are a lot of things that happened in the last couple of years. I just want to, in case you are not aware of them. Basically, the provost, Dr. Brass, commissioned or created this commission on creating the next in education. They came up with this incredible report. If you have not had a chance to look at it, take a look at this report, because it sets the stage for education in 30 years into the future. We really have a vision of what it should be like. And it revolves around 3 pillars, or the pillars that evolves around our commitment to lifetime education. We believe, Georgia Tech believes, and I think this is borne by a lot of the data, is that education is no longer going to be just a few years that you are on campus. It's going to start way before, and it's going to continue throughout. So we're redesigning a lot of the courses, a lot of the education spaces to be to accommodate that. We have initiatives that support that, including the whole person education. So as much as I'm proud of being Georgia Institute of Technology, we are also a university right now that cares about everything, including policy, including languages, including social and humanities, and so on, while never forgetting that our core is technology, but technology in the service of humanity. Advising is becoming a lot more engaged and a lot more scientific. We have a lot more products and services we're providing. We are using artificial intelligence to personalize learning, but for other things. How many of you have heard about Jill Watson? You've heard? Well, not the people from Atlanta. I know you guys have heard about it. Okay, well, good. Yeah, the people from Atlanta have. Anyway, so a few years ago, a couple of years ago maybe, a course, a computer science course, had a TA that started out okay in the class, but she progressed. Her name was Jill Watson, and she progressed very well. The students started liking her more. Initially, they had complaints, as students do, about how the TA was responding. And by the end of the semester, when she was evaluated, she was the top-rated, top-ranked TA. In fact, some students liked her so much and asked her out because she cared a lot about them as a person. Well, Jill Watson was actually an AI agent. It wasn't a real person, and it became a big story. But the idea is that some of the stuff that we're doing in that is being now implemented in other areas. And this is key to being able to scale. When we say we have 12,000 students online, we could not do that and keep the quality. We can do it, but we cannot keep the quality without using technology to benefit us and to supplement, to complement what the professors and the teachers are able to do. And last but not least is distributed worldwide presence. And this is key to what we're doing today, but also you will see something coming out of Georgia Tech. We're going to have portals or atriums around the world that will allow you to access Georgia Tech research, Georgia Tech services, Georgia Tech education, anywhere in the world. We will have something in Munich that you can walk in and will be Georgia Tech. And in there, you will get either help with innovation. You may want to take a few courses. You may be an alum who wants to introduce their children to Georgia Tech. You want to get a buzz outfit or something. You can get all of that through these atria that will be everywhere in the world. And it's not necessarily all physical campuses. I mean, of course, we will have the one in Metz. We're going to have one in China soon, and we may have others, but really these are places where you can access Georgia Tech, the whole of Georgia Tech, not simply take a course or go and buy a T-shirt, the whole of Georgia Tech, including services from these atria. And all of this is around becoming deliberately innovative. Innovation is great, but despite our footprint and our size, we need to partner with others, but we also need to be deliberately innovative in areas that we think we're needed. So another thing that happened is the campus is different, unless you've been on it last week. It changed from the previous week. Every week is changing. So this is the library, which is no longer a library in the usual sense. We teamed up with Emory to transport the books, and we have a really amazing place. We call it the Library Next, and it's like many other libraries. It's a space right now for learning and for collaboration. We also have amazing facilities right now. The Coda building, I heard about the Coda building maybe 4 or 5 years ago when it was just an idea, and now it's this massive 75,000 square meters of space that is designed exactly for collaboration, for innovation. We have companies in that building. We have innovation labs by large companies, by small companies, and we have many of our programs, many of our researchers who are in there, clustered in research neighborhoods. So we have an AI research neighborhood or a health research neighborhood, and we have people in there who are working on big problems. Tech Square Phase 3 is in the planning stages. Hopefully, in about 3 years, it will be completed, and this will house the graduate MBA, the Scheller School of Business, the graduate programs, as well as ISYE. For those of you, I see a lot of ISYE in the room. You have the #1 program, by the way, and again, we're not supposed to tell you yet, but you're again #1. It'll come out a couple of days. And by the way, all of the engineering program right now are ranked in the top 4, every single one of them. And so many of them went up, including the college as a whole is in the top 4. And this will come up, I think it come out in a couple of days. The Candida building is an incredible, incredible building. This is actually a net positive energy building. It's opening in the next couple of months. And of course, the center, the campus, where you see the company and everything else, this is also being remodeled. So this is the physical things. But, you're here to learn about entrepreneurship or to talk about that and so on. As you know, we have the whole chain right now from learning, starting from CreateX, learning about entrepreneurship, doing something, launching companies, but we also have things around, across the board, including for companies from outside, either for startups that we can incubate or for large companies to come in and get our technology. And all of these areas, all of these are things that we can either duplicate or we can work with people around the world on, but it also provides for our students opportunities that are not available anywhere else. In fact, I have two twin boys who are just started last year at Georgia Tech. 2 reasons why they came to Tech. Anybody wants to guess why an 18-year-old will decide to go to Georgia Tech versus any other school that they got into? Girlfriend? That's their mom took care of that. She said, no girlfriends until you're done. No, that's not. So robots was interesting, but a lot of people have robots. Sorry, Magnus. Yeah. So it was 2 things. They did meet with Magnus, and that was good. That was a good thing. No, actually, it was the CRC, the Recreation Center. That's one, but the other one was CreateX. CreateX, when they met with Siva, who unfortunately could not make it today, that was the selling point for both of them. And they wanted to go separate from each other. They wanted to go to different places. They're twins. They've been together all their lives. But they decided this is the place. So anyway, they got in, and lucky for us, that's what they are. So I want to tell you a little bit about the research. So the research, you saw about $1 billion in research awards, and these are things that are currently, but they span everything from non-proliferation R&D, about $25 million award this past year, to let's see, this is the second one is in policy, in public service and policy, to the smart communities, to health and medicine. All of these, we have people at Georgia Tech these days who are engaged in research that goes from the nano scale, from the smallest to the largest, and anything in between, including people, which is really, when I said something about the university or the institute becoming a more complete university or engaged in everything, it is, in fact, not simply the technological problems and the research we're doing, but everything else that I think are important too. Looking ahead, we're going to start a plan for a strategic plan for research. I've been on board for 1 year. The president just joined. We have a few changes, just the natural order of things. After 10 years of having a very stable administration, and prior to that, we had an administration for about 14 years. We're at a point where we have a new leadership at the top. We're going to start. The president will start a strategic plan. I'm going to coordinate, of course, my strategic, the research strategic plan, keeping in mind all of the stuff we said about progress and service, which is the motto of Georgia Tech, but also, we want to be deliberately innovative, as the education plan says. But one thing that I like to keep in mind is this message from a Nobel Prize winner who said, basically, if it works in practice, it will probably work in theory, which I think is is something to keep in mind. Georgia Tech will experiment and will do things, and will, rather than saying we're not going to be able to do it for whatever reason, then we will try things, we will do it, and we will scale it, and hope to make your degrees and our contribution to humanity even bigger. So thank you. I don't know if I have any time. Marta, it's up to you you keep me on time, or we'll pass it on to the next one, and we can network later. Yves?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks, Charlie.